Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into a super critical legal topic. We're going to break down exactly how Indonesian law protects foreign nationals right there on its soil. Specifically, we're looking at how the territorial principle acts as an ironclad legal guarantee for victims of bullying and cyberbullying. If you've ever found yourself wondering how the law works for someone without an Indonesian passport, well, you're in exactly the right place. Let's get right into it. So let's just tackle the biggest question head-on, right? Can foreign victims of cyberbullying actually report it to the Indonesian police? Honestly, it's a scenario that pops up way more often than you might think in our hyper-connected world. Think about it. An expat, a tourist, or maybe a refugee is facing online harassment or defamation from someone inside the country. Can they fight back legally, or are they just kind of left out in the cold simply because they aren't citizens? To answer that definitively, we're going to walk through a quick 5-part framework in this explainer. We'll hit 1. The myth of foreigners' legal rights. 2. The absolute power of Indonesia's territorial principle. 3. The legal foundations and the ITE law. 4. The actual reporting steps for victims. And finally, 5. Special procedures for UNHCR refugees. By the end of this, you'll have a crystal clear picture of how legal protection works for everyone on Indonesian soil.
All right, moving into Section 1, the myth of foreigners' legal rights, where we're debunking the assumption about who actually gets legal protection. We really need to start by completely shattering a dangerous myth that leaves so many victims feeling helpless.
You see, a lot of folks just assume that if you don't hold a local passport, you somehow lack basic legal rights. It's like they think the justice system is some exclusive VIP club for citizens only. But actually, the facts of Indonesian jurisprudence completely reject that idea. The law is fundamentally designed to protect human dignity. And you know, human dignity absolutely does not stop at the border.
This brings us to Section 2, the power of Indonesia's territorial principle. Let's meet the legal concept that basically acts as a massive protective shield for foreign nationals. This concept, known locally as asas territorial, is literally the hero of our explainer today.
I want you to think of Indonesian law as this giant umbrella covering the entire archipelago. It doesn't stop and ask to see your passport or your visa status before it decides to keep you dry. Whether you're a foreign national, a local authority figure, or a legal representative, you are all standing together under that exact same cover. The core message here is super clear. If you are here, you are protected.
And the crucial point is baked right into the legal definition. Under Article 4 of Indonesia's new criminal code, and this was also true under Article 2 of the old code, by the way, jurisdiction is tied directly to the territory where the crime happens or where its impacts are felt. And yes, this explicitly includes cybercrimes where the digital fallout hits someone within Indonesia. The law clearly says it applies to every person. Notice it doesn't say every citizen. So if a crime happens on Indonesian soil or in Indonesian cyberspace, this territorial principle guarantees that the victim has legal standing, period.
Okay, Section 3, Legal Foundations and the ITE Law. Let's look at the heavy constitutional receipts backing up this protection, because the evidence here is undeniable.
What we're talking about isn't just some random legal loophole. The procedural code, the KUHP, guarantees the right for literally anyone who experiences a crime to go and file a report. On top of that, the human rights law says, hey, foreigners must comply with Indonesian law, sure, but in return, it explicitly grants them equal legal protection. And if anyone was still doubting this, Constitutional Court ruling number 111 back in 2015 officially settled the debate. They confirmed that the phrase, every person is a victim, absolutely 100% includes foreign nationals.
So, how does this actually apply to something like online bullying? Well, when people humiliate, defame, or attack a foreigner's reputation on social media, they aren't just being internet trolls. They are directly violating the strict electronic transmission laws of Indonesia, known as the UUITE. Spreading malicious content about a foreigner is a serious criminal act, and it carries severe prison time and some really heavy fines. It is no joke.
But, and this is a really big but, there's a vital procedural catch you have to understand. Defamation and cyberbullying in Indonesia are classified as a delik aduan. That translates to a complaint offense. Basically, this means the police can't just see someone getting bullied online and automatically jump in to make an arrest. The specific victim, the person whose honor was attacked, has to be the one to officially step up and file the police report to actually trigger the legal process.
Which perfectly sets up Section 4, reporting steps for victims. This is all about how to translate theory into practice and claim your protection, because knowing your rights is really only half the battle.
The reporting process is pretty straightforward, but you've got to be meticulous. Step 1, document everything.
I'm talking clear screenshots of the abusive posts, saving the exact URLs of the offending accounts, and capturing all those damaging comments before anyone has the chance to delete them. Step 2. Take those receipts directly to the cyber directorate of the local police. And a quick pro tip here, you do not have to do this alone. You are totally allowed to bring a legal translator or even a representative from your home country's embassy just to make sure everything gets communicated perfectly.
Now let's turn to Section 5, Special Procedures for UNHCR Refugees. We're going to look at how to navigate the system without standard immigration documents, because we really have to talk about this highly vulnerable group.
Refugees might not have standard passports or visas, which unfortunately makes them prime targets for bullies who just assume they can't fight back. There's this super common misconception that because Indonesia hasn't ratified the 1951 Refugee Convention, refugees basically have no rights. That is entirely false. Even without ratifying that specific convention, Indonesia's territorial principle steps right in and overrides that gap. Just by being on Indonesian territory, refugees are equally shielded from criminal abuse and have full, unmitigated rights to report it.
Now, you might be thinking, okay, but how on earth do you file an official police report without a passport? Well, the authorities actually have clear procedures for exactly this. While a standard tourist or expat would just flash a passport or a Kit S for ID, refugees can fulfill the legal identity requirements using alternative official documents. We're talking about the UNHCR refugee card, an under consideration certificate if they're an asylum seeker, or even official placement letters from the local immigration detention center. The system literally adapts so that justice stays accessible.
There is, however, one extra, totally crucial step for refugees to guarantee their own safety. Before marching straight into a police station, refugees really need to report the incident to UNHCR Indonesia or their field partners first. Why? Well, because the UNHCR steps in to conduct a specialized security risk assessment. Then, they coordinate directly with the police and the Directorate General of Immigration on the victim's behalf. This kind of institutional teamwork is absolutely vital to make sure the victim doesn't face any further intimidation or accidentally trigger some unrelated immigration issue while they're just trying to get justice.
All right, we're going to wrap up this explainer with this incredibly powerful Latin legal maxim that popped up in our source material, Fiat justitia ruat caelum. It translates to, let justice be done though the heavens fall. I just love that. It's this brilliant reminder that the ultimate goal of the law isn't about protecting arbitrary borders or checking citizenship statuses. It is strictly about upholding fundamental justice for every single human being who relies on it.
So I want to leave you all with a final, provocative thought today. We've seen that the legal framework and the territorial principle are firmly established in Indonesia. The shield is absolutely there. But a shield only works if people actually know they're allowed to pick it up and use it. So are we doing enough to educate and empower the most vulnerable among us in this digital age? It's definitely a question worth reflecting on. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep learning, and I will catch you in the next one.